Welcome to JR's Detecting Gentlemen. Sit back and relax and enjoy the adventure. Listen and narrated for me. Welcome to the podcast where two couples fall in love again and enjoy summer vacations. So here we go. And we cut to July 1st. We cut to the ranch. Excuse me. And there's an argument. Mayfield is trying to reason with JR. You know, I really wish you wouldn't go. Your sniffles show very little sign of any improvement. And Miss Betsy thinks that you shouldn't go. So I agree. And Mike Fields is like, for Pete's sake, oh, come on, Mary. His father orders, at his father's orders, I chartered a jet for him yesterday. I'm not wasting any money. And Elizabeth Marie's like, come on, let him go. His best friend is back in Fort Worth, working for Dr. Pepper. His college roommate, Kevin, is working his internship in Washington, D.C. this week. Let him go be with this girl. And Gerald's like, look, it's settled. Carmen is packing my bags. And he's the one that's going to be driving me home. Now I'm going. Okay, so now it is 3:30 p.m. Central. And Betsy, she arrived at Mary Jane. In Baton Rouge. Betsy is taking a brief nap before getting ready to meet Jim at the airport at 7 tonight. Now, 5:50 p.m., Jim arrives at the private jet terminal at Louis Armstrong International Airport. To see 6 men load up his luggage and things necessary for the flight to Baton Rouge. Now, 7:45 p.m., Mike Fields drops off JR and Max at the private jet terminal at Midland International Airport. JR and Max surrendered their IDs, and the agent took a look at it. You're cleared. pilot's name is Bo. He and his crew have snacks on board the plane. They'll take good care of you. Okay, so at 8:15 p.m., the Cessna carrying JR and Max taxis down the runway in Midland and departs with a 45-minute flight to Lubbock. Excuse me, my allergies are real bad today. Excuse me. Okay. So now it's 9 p.m. JR's plane arrives in Lubbock. And, of course, Max gets off first. And then JR is greeted, and then Max gets greeted warmly by his girlfriend. Then JR gets off, and he's warmly embraced by Christine. "Oh, JR, it's been way too long," Kristen said. "I bet that's what my mama said to my daddy tonight when he got off the plane to Baton Rouge," JR said. And Betty Spaulding says, "The car is a few feet away. I'll be taking you to her condo." Okay. So it's 9:30 p.m. Meanwhile, in Baton Rouge, Jim is having the time of his life, partying at the Ritmo's home. The problem was the neighborhood empress and her stepdaughter, Annie, was having outbursts, outlandish behavior. And Jim says, "What? You gonna put up with that Claude Ritmo?" Jim says, "Look, he's my most troubled general. Don't worry, I'll whip his butt into shape." "You don't act like that at a party when there's a prominent guest of mine. Sidney Ferraro is going to feel that." So it's 11 p.m. in Kristen's condo. JR and Kristen are seriously making out. But JR pulls back. "We're really going too far," JR said. "What?" Kristen said. "I'm sorry, I said we're going too far." No, baby. It feels all right." "No, honey. My conscience is eating me alive. I better go to sleep, 'cause I got classes in the morning. We better stop." See, it's good that he did stop, because they were at the point where they weren't just making out. They were, how do I say it, awful close to making love. And that's a problem. Okay, so the next day it's 6:30 a.m. JR woke up to find Kristen bringing him waffles in bed on the couch. And JR's like, "Man, I got law school boot camp classes for 3 hours today. When I get back, we'll get together. And I know we have a business meeting tonight," JR said. "I'll be freshening up. Waiting for you, JR," Kristen said. And JR's like, "You're a pure lady." Okay, so now it is 9 a.m. And at the Texas Tech Law Forum, everyone is greeted by the Dean, Jack Robertson. And this story says, "Welcome to the law school where you learn a lot. This boot camp will teach you the beginnings of what to expect your first year and first day in law school. Now, there's 350 students who have been accepted to law school, but only 140 applied for the boot camp. To this end, my assistant is handing you out sheets of paper to tell you which section you'll be assigned this fall. Section 8 will have its first class in the Allison Hall Auditorium. Section B will have its class first at the main lecture hall here at Allison Hall. And that's Section A, rather. Section B will be having their first class at Baker Hall 212. Section C will gather at the Lanier Auditorium. Section D will be at Daniels Hall 424. Section E will begin at the Law Library. Section F is to have their first class right here in the forum. And Section G is to have the first class here in this building at the Allison Courtroom. 1 p.m. JR arrives back at Kristen's condo, and to his chagrin, found Kristen eating oat and beet salad. Apparently, her mother was writing her about her figure. JR got himself a Pepsi and made some grilled cheese. 2 p.m. At Mary Jane, Jim and Betsy finished a hamburger lunch. And with Betsy napping, Jim goes down into the home office to listen to Blake Carter. The two bankers on trial for Whitewater. Well, we have a bombshell. One of the bankers, Branscombe, said that he warned the Clintons 11 years ago about what a bad investment Whitewater was, but Hillary Clinton urged him to shut up, Blake Carter said. Cover-up extraordinaire. "3 p.m. Claude Ritmo comes to meet Jim at the office at Mary Jane. And he's like, "I understand your wife wants a political favor," Claude said. "Tell me, is it somebody she wants me to bump off?" Claude said. "Hell no. I want this man to cry uncle. But Betsy has to tell you what we want," Jim said. "More like the power of political suicide." Okay, so it's 6:30 p.m. Central. And JR and Kristen, they are at the hotel. Elias Gray shows the inmistar plan. JR is intrigued and taking notes. 9 p.m. at a coffee house. JR learns from Elias and Valerie Grace that the Spaldings have business interests in Jackson, Mississippi. Okay, so now here we go. July 3rd, 9 p.m. at the Texas Tech Law School. JR is attending a simulated contracts class taught by Gregor Moore, a nationally renowned professor of contract law. He graduated from the U.S. Air Force Academy in 1972. He received his Juris Doctorate from Southern Methodist University in 1980 and had been teaching at Texas Tech since the fall of 1995. 1:30 p.m. JR and Kristen are listening to some inmistar business tapes regarding husbands and wives. And, of course, they're making out. And after almost a month-long absence from each other, it was good to finally catch up. Okay, so it's 3 p.m. at Mary Jane, as JR is indeed making out with Kristen. Jim and Betsy are making love. With their long absence from each other, it was clear their desire for each other was deeper than Jim had for any other woman. 7 p.m., Carmen had taken JR and Kristen to get some Subway sandwiches, and they had sat down and watched the news for dinner. Now they are listening to a tape that Brad had given him from something JR had watched during the Swainfield barbecue. It was called Cotton Bale Gospel. Both JR and Kristen were in love with it. Well, some of that will change. Of course, Kristen's in. 9 p.m. Jim is partying with Claude and his team, along with Betsy. Apparently, Claude had given his wife, Catalina, a C-active pill to make her mild enough to go to sleep. Jim didn't realize until 6 years later that the pill was MDMA. And Claude says, "Is your problem Senator Cordell Wheeler?" And Jim's angry. He says, "Damn it, you shouldn't have to know everything right now. Now you look at my lady. She'll tell you everything tomorrow at the cookout." Just then, a man walks in. And Claude's men pull up their guns. "Hey, guys. Well, this man up in here, he's my best friend," Jim said. "Claude, what the hell are you doing here?" "I'm tired of being stuck at home, henpecked by my wife." "Well, that spoiled little brat," Claude said. "All right. Go get yourself a cool one. And go sit by Betsy. I need to finish business with these gentlemen. And then we can take all into the party tomorrow." Okay, so now it's 8:30 a.m. At the condo. Roles the reverse as JR made waffles and sent them to Kristen's bed. And Kristen's like, "We can't stay in bed forever. There's an inmistar party at Buffalo Spring Lake. Elias and Valerie. Will want us to be there." And Jared says, "I never partied with a truly rich. They were my friends. Except it was somebody tied to my parents This will be fun. Okay, so it's 11 a.m. The Spaldings pick up Kristen and JR, and they're playing an inmistar tape. Okay, so 1 p.m. JR and Kristen are in Elias's bass boat, and the JR's delight. Kristen is playing her harmonica, serenading Home on the Range to him. 2 p.m. JR and Kristen have hot dogs, with JR pretending to like it. Elias had a chance to talk to JR about his investments, and JR was intrigued by his advice. 4 p.m. If I get this stupid phone to cooperate. Jim and Betsy had just gotten off of the Ripnell's yacht. Now just arrived at the Mary Jane when Jim was invited by the mob boss to go to the dining table and have some of his wife's good Colombian deal brisket. I want to make sure that the senator never returns back to power. I'm not saying that you have to kill him or hurt him. Just create something that can keep him from taking in political, from being in politics again, Betsy says. And so, Claude Ripnell says, a sex scandal. We wait for him to come to see us in Shreveport. We take him in with one of those riverboat girls. Wanting some money to earn and burn. We get him drunk enough to warn her. And then not only will he not go in to power after the end of his term, but he will suffer more consequences than he'll know what to deal with. I don't care what you have to do. Just don't hurt him or kill him. Just spoil his reputation, Betsy says. 8:55 p.m. JR and Kristen get into the Spalding's car, and the miracles of bad stuff, the car don't start. So, Betty has a sister that lives in shallow water. Her husband says he'll come and, get the car towed and get them back to Lubbock. But Elias and Valerie Grace, they're the ones that have to take Kristen back home. And with that, we're going to get we can help it. We can get a Mormon margarita going. JR, that was kind of a hard thing. An embarrassment. Kristen was nervous as hell, as usual. Of course. Larry Spalding wasn't in too good a mood either. And neither was Betty. That marriage ended at some point. Was it divorce? No. They loved each other very much. She died from complications from pregnancy. They were devout assemblies of Christ. Divorce was not part of their vocabulary. So it's sad. It's pretty obvious JR, that your parents might be having a better time in Baton Rouge than you were in Buffalo Springs Lake. It was hard as hell. Alright? Kristen was having fun. Oh God, Kristen was having fun. Until it was near the end. We're going to drink to the advice that the gracious is about to give you guys. Okay? Now, $11 p.m., JR and Kristen climb into the back seat, bucket seats, of Elias and Valerie's 1996 Mercedes-Benz Jabba. And Kristen says, Kara and I wanted to make regional coordinator by the end of the year. Kristen said, you know, when you first signed up, and then you told me, and I said that alone it would be impossible. See, here's the thing. Honey, you need the skills, but JR has it. Go under his leadership, Elias said. Overcome your inertia and apathy. And you should be able to recruit 20 people per month. And you'll get yourself the customers for each one. And Valerie says, as we said Tuesday night, Kristen, Elias and I are expecting a baby. Two years ago, we made it to regional vice president. It would have been impossible for us to have some baby if we didn't have that purchasing power, Valerie said. I know what my husband says. But you make that call, Kristen. So it's pretty interesting what's going on with Elias and Valerie and JR and Kristen. here we go, July the 5th. It's 8 a.m. JR woke up to find his girlfriend screaming and crying. Honey, what the hell's going on? JR said. Bird Brain Paratransit. They canceled my pickup. All right. Look, if you're ready to leave now, Carmen's going to take me straight to law school. And he can take you to and from your appointment. I'll be back at 1. I will be able to talk some more. Calm down, Jared said. Okay, so now it's 9 p.m. a.m. rather, and at the law school registrar, Jared registers for classes. Let's see. You've been assigned to Section C. Your first class this semester will be Civil Procedure with Professor Wade Francis over at the Lanier Auditorium. Let's see here. Looks like you're going to get Frederick McKay for your legal practice class. And Sally Malcolm for the Wednesday afternoon lab. Now, on Tuesdays and Thursdays, you'll be having legal practice, property and torts, back to back. Your torts professor knows you. Sam Barnett. He used to teach rhetoric at the School of Mass Communications. But the dean asked him to teach law for a while. 1 p.m. Jared meets Kristen back at the condo. And they are both already have lunch. With Kristen being able to score her first recruit ever. They decide to go for a 20-minute swim in the pool and then listen to the Cotton Bale Gospel. I don't like it that Brad put the whole musical together in one tape. With your permission, I would like to take the music out. Put the music in alone besides the script. Sounds crazy, honey. But it'll help you with your studies and with your anxiety, whatever. You go ahead. 5 p.m. Meanwhile, back at the ranch, Elizabeth Marie is reading the Washington Times, where she sees a feature article of Frank being involved in a high-profile intellectual property case. So in exasperation, She closes the laptop and goes outside to ride a horse. Okay, we're back. Had to have a little technical difficulties there. 5 p.m. Okay, we already did the thing with Marie. 7 p.m. Earlier that morning, Jared and Kristen, in the evening, Jared and Kristen had pizza for dinner at the condo. And now they are listening to business tapes talking about their future together. 9 p.m. Eastern, Central, at Mary Jane, with Claude and Kyle back in Midland. Jim and Betsy are enjoying themselves in the jacuzzi. Jim admits to her that he is dreading going back to Washington in the next day, in a couple of days. But Betsy assures him that once she knows that JR is settled back into life in Lubbock, that she will fly in August 5th to see and be with her husband for the remainder of his term. Some pretty deep stuff here. Well, it's obvious that Mom and Dad are still very much in love. And at that time, Kristen and I still, at that point, so very much in love. All right. Gotta make sure everything's okay. Here it is, July 6th. Praise the Lord. All right. 6 a.m. Jim wakes up to the waffling sound and sweet smell of French toast. It would be the second to last breakfast he would have with Betsy. 7 a.m. At Kristen's condo, JR again brings waffles to breakfast in bed for him and Kristen. "You are so sweet, JR," Kristen said. I thought I could find a love like yours. When we met 8 years ago, I fell in love with you. But I couldn't act on it. Because, had a job to do. We both were seeing somebody else. I enjoyed that little sweet dream building session you and I had last night. I think with you, we can go to new heights. honey. Someplace that I could never go on. Okay, so it's 9 a.m. back in Baton Rouge. Although Claude Freak House is closed until 6 p.m. Jim goes there to meet Claude Ritmo for a couple of hours, a couple of beers. So, do you have a plan to make that senator cry, Uncle, for me? Jim said. It's going to take a couple of weeks. Richard is my point man, and someone that deals with all things political. So, I'm thinking maybe Richard and Sydney could put him together with some student. 10 a.m. Meanwhile, back at Kristen's condo, Jalen and Kristen are listening to Kristen's inmistar audios. No, Autobox. A paid business voicemail service that costs $26 a month. JR is inspired by the remarks of Elias Grace. Kristen would delete the business voicemails that made her feel even more covetous. This was to be a point of contention between me and her. 1 p.m. So we're back at Mary Jane. Kyle, who had been in Baton Rouge since Thursday, walked into the mansion off the job. And Betsy says, "Yeah." Claude wanted me to look into some onshore wells here in Louisiana. So, Mama, Daddy, hope you don't mind if I stay here until Tuesday, Kyle said. And Jim's like, "No problem, boy." I made copies to the mansion keys, so far as, the mansion keys. But don't you lose them. I just can't believe my brother was so asinine that he wouldn't come down here to be with you guys, Kyle said. And Jim cornered Kyle. "You listen to me, boy. I feel the same way he did. Summer of '68. Hours drilling around the Dallas area. And I was gone for 3 months. And it was a good relief. When on the weekends, or during the week, I could come home and see your mama. This was the summer of '68. This is now. You met your wife in church, Midland. And you guys really had a long, you guys had no long distance anthems from each other. So I'm going to give you one last piece of advice. Shut your mouth. Okay, so it's 2 p.m. JR and Kristen go for a 40-minute swim in the pool. And the way they hold one another showed that at that point, they're very deeply in love. So now it's 3 p.m. Back at Kristen's condo, JR reaches for a Pepsi, and they listen again to Cotton Bale Gospel with a dub copy that Kristen made instead of the whole musical. I never could understand why she was that way. But then again, considering that she was a musician, I couldn't help but notice that at that point, a lovely little quirk she had. And then, end scene. Okay, guys, I'm going to give this 3.6 root beers. Law school boot camp. And a ride in Claude Ritmo's yacht. JR? 3 Pepsis, law school boot camp, and a ride in Elias and Valerie Grace's Mercedes. Thank you, guys. Hope you enjoy listening to the J.R. Hendrick Texan Gentleman. If you like what you hear, please subscribe. Become a part of the adventure. This is the James Hendrick Empowerment Network saying, till next time, get ready for the rest of the story. It's going to be bumpy from here.